Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Spiritual Morsels. We know the story of the prodigal son. This is one of the most famous parables of Jesus. And based on this famous parable, there have been paintings, there have been movies, there have been novels that have been written. And when we see this story in Luke chapter 15, verse 11 onwards, it goes like this. There was a man who had two sons. And in the very next verse, the second son goes and asks the father for his share of the property. And there it says the father divides his estate, his entire property into two, and gives one portion to the younger son. And as we go down further, we know after a while, the younger son takes all that he has, all that rightly belongs to him. He goes to some other country, and we know how he lived there. He wastes all the money, he spends it on unwanted things, and then when he comes to his senses, he tells himself that I will go back to my father's house, and I will ask my father not to receive me as a son, but to receive me as one of the servants, one of the slaves. Do you know why? When we read that, we kind of feel an empathy for him. We feel like, oh, he is so humble. He has repented, But that's the only thing he could do. Because legally, when he came back, he could not live in that house as a son. Because there was nothing in that house that belonged to him. He took everything that belonged to him and he destroyed it. So now if he has to live in this house, legally, that's the only way he could live, as a servant. And that's the reason he says that. And so when he comes back, we know the story. His father sees him from a distance. His father runs to him, hugs him, receives him, tells the servants to do, all that needs to be done for him, and throws a party. There's music, there's dancing, there's celebration, and rejoicing for this younger one who has come back. Meanwhile, the older son, who never left the father, who has always been living with his father all these years, taking care of the estate, doing all that the father asked him to do, doing the right things, he comes back from the field. And when he comes back, from a distance he could hear that there's something different in the house today. There's a lot of, the noise of celebration, like singing and dancing. And he was confused. He's like, what's going on? What's happening in this house? So he calls one of the servants and he asks, what's happening over there? And the servant is like, don't you know your younger brother has come back? He's like, my brother? Yes, the one who destroyed everything. He has come back, and your father is throwing a party in celebration of his return. And this older son gets upset. He refuses to go in. And in verse 28, the father comes out and talks to the younger son. It says the father went out and pleaded with him. The father does not scold him for not getting inside the house. The father pleads with him. In verse 29, but he answered, all these years I have been slaving for you. Did you notice his words? He says, I have been slaving for you, and you have not even given me a goat to celebrate with my friends. The father is shocked. If you see the father's response in verse 31, the father is like, my son? In some other versions, it says, my child? Is this what you've been thinking all these years? You've been living with me, but you thought of yourself as a slave? The father says, all that I have is yours. This is what caught my attention in this verse. We often think about the words, this my son is dead, but now he's alive. But I believe this is the most powerful statement that the father makes in this parable. All that I have, everything that I have is yours. It's true. because the father had already divided the property into two, and the younger son had taken one portion and gone away. So whatever is left belongs to this older son. He is, the rightful heir. It already belongs to him. The father doesn't say, I will give to you all that I have in the future. The father doesn't say, you can take whatever you want and then in the future I can give the rest to you. No, the father says, all that I have, it's already yours. What are you even talking about? You've been living with me all these years. This is yours. The father is shocked at the son's statement that I have been slaving for you. The father can't believe that the son's attitude was not right all these years. And it's important to note that Jesus ends this parable not with the prodigal son, but with the older son. Do you know why? Because most of us who call ourselves Christians, who call ourselves children of God, are not like the prodigal son. We are the older son. We are the older son in the story. Do you know why? Because we do what is right. We always go to church on time. We pay our tithes. We put money in the offering bag. We serve in church whenever needed. We try to do everything that is right. And then, deep inside our hearts, like the older son, we expect God to answer our prayer because we do all these things that are right. The father says, child, is that your attitude? Everything already belongs to you. The Bible says, if we are children, we are heirs. Jesus says, I no longer call you slaves. I no longer call you servants, but I call you my friends. And we say we are Christians, but our attitude, we think like the older son. We live like the older son, like a pauper in a palace. And you know what? Jesus doesn't tell us if the older son entered the house or not. He's still standing outside. Do you know why? Because he leaves that decision to you and me. Will we enter the house? The father comes and pleads with us. The father is telling us, my child, everything I have is yours. Change your attitude. We have to decide whether we will enter the house with a different attitude, knowing that everything my daddy has is mine, and whether we will change the way we pray. Instead of praying like a slave, begging, will we go in and live with the authority that we have? The choice is yours. The choice is mine. We have to make that choice for ourselves. I pray that in the coming days, may we be able to make the choice that our Father wants us to make, realizing, not just living with Him, but living in the attitude of a slave, but realizing that everything that my daddy has is mine. God bless you.